right, girl, here we are sitting in the last 2 weeks of the season. Really, I guess 3 weeks if you really count like the week off, but we're heading into the championship weekend. Friends, we are going to get into it. Last weekend was epic. Lots of good, lots of sketch. You know, we're going to get into all of it. But thanks for joining us tonight. It's Wednesday, 8 p.m. That's when we love to get together and chat football. If you are here, please be sure you like, subscribe, share, all the things. And always reach out to us on Instagram, where you can always catch up with Beth and I there. So, Beth, let's start with, how's your week going?
Oh, it's so good. It was such a great continuation of last week with all the same anxiety. Let's first start. We had another snowstorm in Georgia. So as much as I wanted to be back at work and back at school and all those things, we had MLK Day holiday, and then we've been out of school the last 2 days for ice and snow. So we just got word the kids get to go back tomorrow. So I'm super excited about that. That's probably the biggest news from a household standpoint. And now here we are getting ready for playoff football again already.
That's awesome. Fun fact, Florida got snow in Gainesville, which is like 90 minutes from me. So there was no snow days here in Tampa, but it is what it is. All right, well, let's just rock and roll, because I want to definitely talk about these games. So, y'all, Laura's not here. Shout out to Laura, girl. So sorry. RIP Lions. They are out of it. They got really shockingly beat by the Commanders. I mean, I say that, but then my husband's around prancing around like, oh, I called it. Like, did you call it? Because you didn't say anything to me before the game, but
I'll say that was, I don't know if that was a call it game. I was really surprised, actually. I don't know if I was really surprised because, again, you know, we're Buffalo and Detroit fans, and they'll say the same thing. We kind of are used to these weird choking patterns that we go into. But I just didn't see it to be this game. I mean, Goff just had probably one of his most off games he's had in a very long time, for sure this season. I mean, this season he was nearly perfect all season, and this game, I mean, what did he have? 3 picks, something like that, and a fumble. I mean, he just wasn't where I was surprised.
Yeah, so Jared Goff went 23 for 40. 313 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. So his QB rating was 59.7. Definitely not the standard. We've seen him have perfect games, right, this season. So definitely not a quality game there for him. I'm not upset. Gabriel's entered the chat. What do you say here? He said, all Washington needs is a new quarterback, then off to the playoffs they go. Oh, he's saying that's all they needed. Yeah, I mean, well, a lot's happened in Washington. So starting with Adam Peters, who came from the office of the 49ers. He was right under John Lynch. He goes over. There's new ownership. All these things happened, and it's been very exciting for Commander fans. So then you get, Daniels in as quarterback, and it's been phenomenal watching this kid. I mean, he's had to travel away during the playoffs, and he has not stumbled at all. Fun fact, did you see that part of his training is he does virtual reality? Did you hear about this?
I did hear about this, which is very cool. Cool.
So for those who don't know, what they've been doing with him is he's been using virtual reality. He gets out there, they put scenarios into the VR, and he plays them out, but they speed it up by 1.5 times so that it speeds up the game for him, so that when he's actually in a game setting, the game is slower to him because he's used to, utilizing virtual reality, which is fascinating to me. This is absolutely fascinating. So I'm definitely interested in seeing how this guy does throughout the rest of the playoffs, because they're looking pretty damn good. Like anything
Yeah, I mean, but yes, I started off with Goff having a hard game and whatnot, but that is not to say the Commanders did not go in there with an agenda to win, and they put the pedal to the metal and just they picked apart Detroit, which is hard to do.
Yeah, for sure.
And they definitely did.
So his numbers were 22 for 31, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a QBR of 122.9. Like, he was balling. And to be fair, it definitely takes a team, right? This is a team effort. And so everything was pretty even if you look at like the penalties, the rushing yards, passing yards, third down efficiency, fourth down efficiency. If you look at all of that, the teams are pretty evenly matched. But here's where it went left is when you make mistakes. So it's the interceptions that were thrown and things like that, the sacks, all of that happened. So, we got Terror Dome in the house. What up, my friend? What up? So we're so happy you're here, Buffalo Beth in the mix.
Woo woo.
That's right. Whoop whoop. So really impressive, really impressive of the Commanders to take over the Lions. So I really wish that Laura was with us, Terror Dome. We got Lions Laura up in the house, but she's not here tonight. She's traveling on the road to Ohio. Every time that girl travels, it's always in some kind of massive, like, Mother Nature situation. So it's like snowed, and like that's the day she's trying to get up to Ohio. So she's not with us this week. I think next week she's out, but then she'll be with us right before the Super Bowl. So make sure you check in with us then. But we would love to hear her thoughts. I'm sure she's not upset for missing tonight's podcast.
She doesn't want to have to relive any of that.
Yeah, and I don't blame her. I've definitely been there. So that was the NFC game that was on Saturday. Let's talk about the game on with the Chiefs and the Texans, because this one broke my heart. So those of you who listened last week, you know that I was rooting for the Texans. I mean, I think all of the U.S. who aren't Chiefs fans were rooting for the Texans. And Doug, I really thought they could do it, right? Like I was talking about D'Amico's defense, like D'Amico Ryans. He's a dog. He can build these mean, just grungy, gritty defenses. Aziz Al-Shaair is there. He was with, those two were together in San Francisco. And so here comes this game, and Aziz is nasty, right? Like, he's just going after Mahomes. Here's the fun fact. There were two roughing the passer calls on Mahomes. And they are, like, I'm going to show you one of them. Oh, yeah.
They were so calm.
It was so like, no. It was enough that even Troy Aikman was like, bruh.
That was the best. When he called him out like on national television, be like, that's not, we need to stop this. This is not what we're doing.
He was probably like, bro, like, you would have never made it in my era of playing. But,
right.
Okay, we got the invite to go on Terror Dome show. Hey, bud, we'd love to do that. Big week, Beth, Bills versus refs.
Yes. Fun. It is going to be Bills versus refs. We were discussing this at our house as it is. My husband's a referee too, and we watched. I made him go back and watch this game and parts of this game, and he was like, "Yeah, no, you're right." And then you go. We'll talk about it later, but the Bills game, and they forgot flags. They forgot to pack their flags. They just let. You still there? We lost you for a second.
Am I still here? I don't know. Like, you froze up, or I don't know if I froze up. You froze up. All right.
So, it was. All I'm saying is there were no flags in the Buffalo-Baltimore game, and there were many in the Chiefs' favor.
Well, I'm going to see if I can show you guys now. I'm going to bring up the video. It says no preview. Let's see. Unavailable. Of course, unavailable.
They've taken it down. They want nobody to see it.
Basically,
never happened.
It was right. I can't find it, but guys, seriously, go look it up. It is crazy. Like, You have two Pterodome, so that's them ops. NFL didn't want you outing them for sure. So there's two defenders. There's Patrick Mahomes, two defenders. They're coming in. He slides late. So he slides late, but as he's going down,
out of the pocket, mind you, out of the pocket. So he's a runner. Let's also remember that.
Correct. And so two defenders are coming for him. He is running and slides late. And the two defenders kind of hit into each other and don't even touch him. And the flag goes sky high. And I'm like, what? It was crazy. And I think Aziz was one of them on that tackle. And then there was one later or before that one where Aziz was going after him in the pocket. He was kind of like a free runner, just broke right through, went right to him, and boom, flag. It was like, you can't win. And you say in these kind of games, I get it. Like, you're like, listen, we'll take the 15 yards. We're here to make a statement. And I feel like that was part of it. But these things happened, and it takes the wind out of your sails. It can change the trajectory of the game. Now, there were some missed field goals, missed extra points. I mean, nothing you can do about that. But, and so at the end of the game,
Pterodome's last comment as well. That last one at the end, the pushing him out the sideline. It was the best acting. He must pay extra for acting lessons because, my Lord,
yes,
it was a pretty impressive.
And
push
that's a good point. Yeah, and Gabe brings up a good point. One of the players shoved his own coach, and that was the Texans, wasn't it? It was Houston. Yeah.
Like the first or second play of the game, which was super weird as well.
Yeah. Special teams. Was it the special teams coach?
Yeah.
Random. If anybody needed to be pushed of a special teams coach, it's the 49ers special teams coach. It was a complete disaster. But no, so that was, I was really, really upset because I felt like I'm always going to root for defenses. I'm a defensive mind. Whenever I played sports, I was always defense. So I love a strong defense. And I felt like the Texans honestly had one of the best defenses heading into the postseason. So I was super sad to see them not make it through and not kick the Chiefs right up the gut. But it be what it be. And
just gives us a chance. It just gives us a chance to do it.
Gives you the chance. So, all right, before we switch over and talk about your games, let's chat a little bit about just random stuff in the NFL. So, oh man, I bet you this was what happened last time. If I click around, I end up disappearing. You can still hear me, right? Here we go. Yeah, I can't click around. Apparently, my computer might be on its last leg here, but the Patriots. So we know that they already hired Vrabel as our head coach, but now Josh McDaniels, who used to be the Raiders coach, but he got canned, I think not 2 years ago. Anyway, he's going to be the offensive coordinator, but I feel like they're all connected with the Patriots previously. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on. In terms of my beloved 49ers, I just read a report that was put out there that they may consider cutting Juszczyk. So Kyle Juszczyk, if I think it could free up, I think they said $3 million in cap space. But an interesting fact that they brought up in that write-up was that, he's a 9-time Pro Bowler. And I love this guy. He's like a jack of all trades. He does incredible blocking when they need him, especially when our running backs room got tight. He was, somebody that was there. Brock could pass the ball to. So I hate to see him go, but, we're going to need to find money because Brock's about to get a good payout. So, yeah, Pterodome said they're putting the band back together in New England. Yeah, at this point, there's probably a group of folks that are like, welcome back, right? Like, come back because they're so sick of
do it. We got to do something. We got to change something.
Right? Also, Beth, here's what I love about the Bills. I freaking love Bills Mafia, and there's going to be no shame in my game. I am cheering for the Bills Mafia all the way through. But we're going to talk about the Ravens game and why this is so important. But the Bills have come together. The Bills fans have come together. Mafia has donated $32,000 to Mark Andrews Fund, which is the T1D Foundation. So Mark Andrews has diabetes, and so this nonprofit that he supports is helpful for those that are living with type 1 diabetes. So shout out to Bill's Mafia, showing him the love, because I'm sure he has not been in the
Well, they were
best.
saying part of the reason why they did it is because he was receiving death threats after the game for missing that catch, which is stupid. Y'all, it's a game. At the end of the day, it's a game, right? It's not that serious. We all have a great time. We all love it. We talk about it like it's life and death, but it's not. It's a game. So that was part of the reason why they did that, to bring awareness to the fact that that was happening as well. And yeah, the Mafia they do a really good job of just pulling together and being around for people who need it, and trying, as stupid as we are for a lot of the things that they do and how they act out and all of that. At the end of the day, it's a game, and they want to support other players and other families and the sport and the unity of the sport. So good job. Good on you, Bills Mafia.
No, I agree. I feel like there's two things that make this a little bit more, I don't know. I think one, people bet on these games, right? And they bet on these players. And so when people are not responsible and they lose a ton of money, I think that's not helpful either, right? Like that's where some of these death threats might be possibly, because it's not just a game to them. They've now lost who knows how much. So I feel like that's not helpful, right? And I feel like social media is not helpful, right? So I think there's just a lot of things that are out there.
It gives you a place to, it's easier to talk behind a computer screen. And I think I agree with you. I think the gambling portion has been so heavily pushed this year that I think probably there is a lot more stress and anxiety that goes on for both the players and for people who are watching. So
yeah. So chill out, people. Chill. It's just a game, man. Responsible betting, right? Or make sure you check in with like Gamblers Anonymous. I mean, seriously, there's a lot of that going on out there. So be smart, be responsible, and let's just keep it a game. But let's go ahead and I guess just talk about the game, because I feel like a lot of the news that we're about to get into involves this incredible game with the Ravens against the Bills. But let's start with the Rams-Eagles. What a messy game. Dude, it started out cold and raining, and then it turned into snow. Like, what?
It was gross.
I felt bad at first. Like, of course, you and I went to the Bills game when it snowed, and I'm like, that's one thing. We didn't get wet. It was just
No, there is a complete difference between being wet and cold and being like in the snow and cold. Like wet and cold is terrible.
It's awful. So I wonder how much flu A is floating around, and COVID and all kinds of, nastiness from just sitting out and that stuff. So, and if you were a Rams fan, I'm sure there was no enjoyment after that game. So I was surprised. I really thought that the Rams were going to, do a number on the Eagles, but it did not. I didn't get to watch this game. I was at a track meet, indoor track meet with my son. So I watched a little bit. Funny. If you're a Cowboys fan out there, why? Just why? Because I'm sitting there. We're at a track meet. It's indoors. There's an area that's got your refreshments, and there's actually a bar that was there, and they had a TV on, and the TV had the game on. So as I'm sitting there watching,
what a great track meet!
It was I was like, I've never been in a track meet like this, and so I was like, I'm gonna sit here and watch the game. And so I'm like watching on my phone when it's like time for his event, because we were waiting for one more event and then we could hit the road so we could get home for the Ravens game. So I'm sitting there, and there's a Eagles fan. There's two Eagles fans actually there, and they're trying to watch the game. and a Cowboys fan, got his beanie on with a big star on there. And he looks at me and he was like, you know, ho, 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 like, because the Rams had just scored. And he's like, he's not talking now. He's not talking now. And I go, sir, the star on your hat signifies you should not be talking much either.
And then your husband had to come over and escort you away.
I was like,
That's terrible. I can only see your husband being like, no, it's time. She didn't mean it. We're going to go now. We've got.
No, actually, you know, the funniest part was my husband was like, I mean, yeah, you really shouldn't be talking. Oh, it was, I mean, you get what I don't know. I just couldn't. But he seemed friendly enough that I could like kind of be like, sir,
Banter.
I don't think you have much to say right now. So no, it was that kind of environment. But yeah. So did you watch this game?
No, because I was at an outdoor rugby match for my son.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
Yeah.
pause. Real quick, how did Gabe do? Gabe, how'd you do, bud, with the
He did
rugby?
great. He had a great game. First time playing. He's only played for a couple weeks. He did really well. He had a lot of fun. It was like 20 degrees with the wind chill. Yes, Pterodome, I was in the elements. When I tell you we had hot hands, hot feet, hot lap pads, 3 or 4 blankets. My daughter, who's 10, was so angry. We just wrapped ourselves up. My husband was like, nobody took video. And I was like, my hands never came out of gloves. Like, no, I didn't take a video. I didn't even take a picture. You can attend to another game. It was so cold. I'm glad that it's going to be warmer this week.
No, well, congratulations, Gabe. I know you're listening to the show, so we appreciate, you know, your effort out there in the freezing cold, and hopefully you appreciate your family sitting out there in the freezing cold watching you play. So, but okay, so back to the Eagles Rams game. Jalen Hurts got injured. It's a knee injury. I'm not sure that I have all the details yet, but it does look like he will be playing this weekend. So
currently limited participation, so hopefully he'll be feeling good by the time the game comes around.
Yeah, for sure. But there was an MVP. So Lamar Jackson wins his 3rd MVP by the Pro Football Writers of America, which is
we jumped. Hold on. Did we jump to go there?
Oh, we did. Oh, but look who's here.
Like,
Technics.
Breathe.
I know. Sorry, guys. It's been a week. Well, we have already left.
So back to Hurts. Hurts had a great game outside of the knee injury near the end of the game. So yes. He did what he needed to do early on. As the game went on, he stopped moving much at all.
Can you blame him cold and wet and damp and I can't imagine.
I'm wondering if it's a PCL. I think I recall watching that play and I was thinking it might have been a PCL strainer during the game. So
yes, so we'll keep a close eye on that. He's expected to play this weekend, but the reason why I brought up the Lamar Jackson part is because Saquon Barkley was also in the running, and they feel like he's now literally not only in the running for MVP, but is also in the running for Offensive Player of the Year, which of course was the same scenario that Christian McCaffrey was in last year. So it'll be interesting to see. I did watch, and I can't even remember if it was Good Morning Football or if it was Get Up or just where I heard it, but they were talking to King Henry. And I guess there's a group chat between some of the running backs in the NFL. And it might even be all the main running backs in the NFL, but they've kind of banded together and they've tried to figure out how to make the running back position kind of in better graces, right? Because a lot of these organizations are trying to go cheap with the running backs and they're not wanting to pay these guys, and they are absolutely killing it out there. Like you go from Christian McCaffrey and all he did last year to everything that Saquon Barkley and King Henry and stuff has done this year. And I just love that. I love that that they are banding together and that they have put together such a great performance this year. I think collectively, right? So just wanted to throw that
And
out
that's
there.
good. I mean, they need to do that, right? So there aren't enough. I love how you can get some of those people who are so strong in their positions to kind of pave the way and say, no, this is a much more dynamic position than what you're giving us credit for, and you're using us for a lot more resources than you have in the past, and making it worthwhile for that. Because I think the running back position has changed over the years, right? Like, it's not, you would never see somebody like King Henry both running and catching and being as agile as Saquon Barkley, doing the things that they're doing with how agile they are. Like, that's just, you don't see, we have not seen that in the NFL before, that speed and size and agility. So I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting some love. Listen, we love
Thank you guys.
You guys are being so incredibly amazing. Like Terradome says, love how you guys see and diagnose the game. There's going to be a lane for that on network in the coming years. I foresee. And Technics Chick, who we missed the last couple of weeks but is back today, says absolutely Terradome networks need to bring on Desi and Beth to break that stuff down. I mean, we're here for it.
Let's do it. I mean,
I think our little page needs to blow up a little bigger than what we have right now before networks.
We're going to work on that. We're going to work on marketing this summer. We're going to work on being more visible. We'll get there.
We'll see. See if I can get my homework during the week is the problem. But no, this gives us great practice as we continue to try to serve you guys and bring some good content to everything else that's out there. Okay, so let's finally get to the game. This was the big juggernaut, the game that we were all looking forward to. It was crazy. My husband's texting Beth crazy stuff. Beth's texting me and Greg crazy stuff. And then the game's coming down. And it was just, I think the last thing you said to him right before the game came on was pretty funny. Do you remember what you texted?
Probably not. Oh, because he was making comments about the other game.
Correct. And so you sent the Let's Go Buffalo cartoon thing because he sent you the Lamar cartoon thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you Greg is not amused, but I am. And then after the game, well, we'll talk about what you texted after the game, but So
are we talking about when he sent a text earlier? We were all talking, and he said he was laughing because he called the last win. What, the Eagles win?
Commanders.
No, the Commanders win. And I said, you go ahead and enjoy that win because that's the last one you're going to see this weekend.
Oh, the roast was strong.
Desi was like, "Oh, I am married to this man. Now what?"
Greg asked me not one time, but I think 2 or 3 times. He's like, "Who are you cheering for?" And I was like, "Did you feed the dog?" He's like, "Oh, who are you cheering for?" "Oh, did you run to Publix yet? I have to go to Publix." Like, I would not answer him because I was like, "Oh yeah, Terradome, you have no idea. She is buffalo hot wing sauce. Yeah, that is her." So it was awesome. I do love Lamar. I think through just watching his postseason commentary, I really do love that guy. I even love his bling. Like I just think there's something so, I don't know, just blue collar and down to earth and humble, as much as same thing with your quarterback, right? Josh Allen is just a farm guy, down home, good human being. I love both of these quarterbacks, and it really was, I still am tormented. I wish there could be 2 awards given to both athletes. I think both of them are just incredible humans, great athletes, are amazing for their team, no question. But if I had to cheer for a team to actually continue on, it was going to be the Bills. But that takes, but it is what it is. I didn't want.
I'll say.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say the thing with Lamar Jackson is that he hasn't had like a fair shake at it. You know, he's had a lot of years of injuries, or his team has gotten really injured, and Buffalo has had a lot of these stories as well, right? But I think this is the first year that we've seen Lamar Jackson make it to the playoffs healthy and playing well, right? Like he wasn't super nervous the first round of playoffs, you know, for wild card game. Like he this is the first year that I feel like he's kind of settled into his own, and had the ability to. So there's good things coming for them. I'm not terribly worried. We have done all of that, and now it's time. So
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
not feel bad for Baltimore. They're still coming. It's still going to happen. It's still going to happen for Lamar.
And to be fair, Baltimore has won Super Bowls, right? We have yet
Mm-hmm.
to see a Bills win a Super Bowl. So I am here for it. I would love to see that happen. I what I hated most, and somebody brought this up right before the game, is that no matter who took the L in that game, the narrative was then going to be they can't win deep in the playoffs, right? Like you guys have been able to get past the Chiefs, right, in the playoffs. Lamar hasn't been able to go deep and make a deep run to the playoffs. And so I hated that. I was like, I don't want that to be the narrative for either guy, because I feel like they have worked their asses off to get their team to where they are today. They both have had tremendous growth. You see that Josh Allen has not had to be Superman every single game and put the team on his back every single game. You've seen Lamar become more comfortable in the pocket and allow Derrick Henry to run the ball, to get him out in space, to be able to let the play progress. I mean, this is incredible growth. It just sucks that both of it happened in the same year for both quarterbacks. Both were drafted the same year. I mean, there's so many parallels between these two guys. And Terradome brings up a good point. Definitely could be a split like it was with Peyton Manning and Steve McNair back in 2000. Very good to bring that up. That's great.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
No. And even this Bills Commanders Super Bowl, love that idea. Throwback to the 90s when they had some good playoff teams. Yeah, I love that.
So part of the reason why Buffalo had to lose or had to win as well is because that would have been fourth divisional round in a row loss. And like it just, you reach a point, it's, you're going to end up losing players. You're going to end up losing staff. You're going to end up losing support when you, similar with like the 4 Super Bowls, right? Like you got at some point, the fan base is just hurting, right? So to have that also on his shoulders would be like, we can't walk in here again in our home and possibly lose this game. Like you just can't. But they sure did not make it a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. They sure let that game play. It was a very stressful game.
So tell us about this. So just on our side of it, we walked in, like we were literally 8 miles from the house when the game came on. I made my husband like pull over the car so he could then be the passenger and I would drive so he could watch it on YouTube TV. We get into the house, and we were probably just getting in the house when maybe it was at the 2 minutes into the game, literally. So that was us. And then we finally sit down and we start watching the game, and I will tell you what my husband said later
you can. It's fine because
but I want you,
because I probably thought the same thing.
But I really want to hear what this was like from your, through a Bills Mafia lens. I want to know what your experience was watching this game.
So I had, this week felt eerily familiar to last week at the beginning of the game, right? So the Ravens just made an easy run the first time down the field. We held our own. We did what we could. The long time standing, all the narrative is we were smaller. They've taken us out before, all of these pieces, right? so to see them run the field, and when we said last week, like I assumed this game to be a very high scoring game. I assumed it was going to be offense versus offense, just trying to keep everybody in control. I may have forgotten that the weather was going to be at play, which definitely changes the how the game is played, the scoring in a game, all of those pieces, right? But we watched them drive down.
Classic Bills fan. It's snow, whatever.
We'll be fine. Be fine. Whatever. So we watched that first drive, and I had to channel what you said to me after the first drive the week prior was like, it's the first drive. You're good. They just got to get the wiggles out. They got to shake it off and get back into the game. And so I really channeled that because I was like, I had said it on the podcast, like we anticipated this. This is going to be a high scoring game. We are not going to be able to stop them. Well, wouldn't you know that we could? I mean, hats off to the Buffalo defense.
Yes. Say it, girl. Say it louder.
With all of the negativity surrounded it, with the true size differential. I mean, we were sitting there watching the game, and Dane was like, "Oh my God, they look so little." It's like they're so small. I was like, I know, it's okay. They're gonna be quick and speedy and do all the things. It's gonna be fine. And they did do all the things. I mean, what? 2 interceptions, 3 interceptions? No, 1 interception and two fumble recoveries. Just they picked apart Lamar and King Henry. Like they really did just pick apart their game. For the first half at least. But they did a great job of picking apart that. I never thought for once that Derrick Henry would be out of the game as much as he was. I don't know what was going on. He didn't play nearly as much as I thought he was going to be in there. And I don't know why. I don't know if you know. But it was really interesting.
He fumbled the ball a bit. He had a drop. Was it the first drive? No, it wasn't the first drive. I don't think it was the first drive.
No.
It was very early in the game. He had a drop. So but I don't know why. I think
it was strange to me. I don't know what the thought process was, because I mean, if I was the Ravens, I would have just run us over and over again because we couldn't stop him the first time through. We did a good job stopping him second this game, but the first time we played him, I mean, he just walked all over us. So
do you think, and Tara don't put it here, they should have run King Henry 50 times? Agree. But I wonder if part of their game plan was like, they're going to expect they're going to expect Derrick Henry, so let's give him Lamar. Like, I think they were looking to put a little bit more on Lamar. And maybe, I don't know, there was that play where Damar Hamlin came through, grabbed Lamar's leg as he was trying to scramble. Lamar does like this weird spin, drops the ball, and then
Von Miller
comes up, and he looked like
remembered he was 40 is what happened. Von Miller remembered how old he was, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not outrunning anyone."
And here's what I said to Greg on that play. I said, "Damn," I said, "Von looks like he's back to what he used to look like before his injury. Remember last year he was still kind of like,
No, he got a lot of pressures on the ball today or this week.
He really did. So, and even, Tara Dome was saying that too. Taylor Rapp is a dude. Damar Hamlin is a dog. McDermott knows what he's doing. Absolutely.
It was fun to watch. I wish our offense was able to put a little bit more on the board. But I will also say that I feel like Josh Allen played probably the smartest football I've ever seen him play. I think he didn't, what was the stat? He only made 2 or 3 throws over 10 yards.
Yeah, this was good. Technics Chick says, when I saw that play, was going to make a joke about Von Miller being as old as his jersey number.
It was kind of like when Baltimore had that game a couple weeks ago in the Giant. He intercepted. It was an interception, it was a fumble, and he picked it up and he ran like 4 feet and then like just kneeled down. Like that's kind of what I felt like was happening. He's like, I got the ball. We're here. It's all I'm gonna do. We're gonna let the rest of steps up to the offense.
That's all he needed to do, right? So this game came down to, and I got to tell you this part. It came down to an 8-point differential, to 8-point deficit for the Ravens. They marched down the field. They scored a touchdown, which was shocking to me. And then it came down to a 2-point conversion. For those who are not familiar with the Baltimore Ravens, if each quarterback has like that one player that, like, I'll call it their security blanket, like their go-to guy, right? Everybody knows that Kelsey is Patrick Mahomes' go-to guy. Lamar Jackson's go-to guy for years has been their tight end, Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews was going, he's hitting the outside. The play is kind of going to the right. Lamar goes to the right. He passes the ball. Mark Andrews is literally just inside the end zone. Ball is delivered to his hands, and he drops it. And that ended pretty much the game. But prior to that, it was kind of like, okay, if they tie it up, there's about 90 seconds that might be left on the clock for the Bills to go down. And I don't remember which commentator said it, but it was like, and they have a chance to kick a field goal. And in my head, I was like, oh no. My girl cannot handle a field goal from the Bills. I was like, this can't come down to the Bills kicking a field goal.
Yeah. It was hard, and it was actually hard for us to kick that field goal prior to the Ravens drive, because we knew it would put us up by 8, but we also knew that that's one score, right? Like that can be a thing. But if we didn't get it in the end zone, then we'd be really screwed. So it was maybe a little bit more cautious than I would have wanted it to be, but it worked out in the best. So yeah. Congratulations, sis. I was really excited for you. Guys, this was the text that I received from her immediately following the game. I didn't get any text from her during the game, but immediately post game, I get, my toxic trait is that if we joke about traveling in 10 minutes, I have the flights, prices, hotel reservations, travel itinerary, and bag ready. So I was like, so we going to Kansas City? Because, just in case there was like a thought process going through anybody's mind.
Just in case. And Terradome, thank you for the information here. He's so good. Mark Andrews led in targets for 7. He caught 5 of them, but obviously he needed that 6th target. So that is
when the weather's bad, you can't, it's a very different game, right? Like, so you got to understand that it does play a part. We are not going to KC. There's a gymnastics competition and a rugby match, and then I got to get home in time to watch the game. So we've got my family schedule will not allow this week. Can I share something that just popped up though on my screen? So sporting news. I don't know why I got this notification, but Sporting News just reported that the Eagles are selling pints of sleet from the NFC divisional win over the Rams. They're selling the snow from the stadium.
Beth, we missed our opportunity when we were
the win. I know. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
I have no comment for that.
It is available for purchase by the pint, and it costs fans $50. A reference to the total number of points scored in the game. That's not $50 for fucking water.
Philly gonna Philly.
For ice. Sorry. It just popped up and I was like, this needs to be discussed.
Oh my gosh, for sure. Someone said, our Techniques Chick said, are they selling the snow so that the fans can then throw it at a Santa? Yeah, that's pretty much.
Listen, I am not buying $50 snow to throw away. It is going to sit in my freezer for eternity. Like, if I'm going to buy $50 snow, it's going to sit there forever.
That's crazy.
I mean, I guess, whatever. In any case, that is the news out of Philly today.
Well, here we go. Philly is America's orphanage.
Shoot.
Wow. It's going left, folks. It's going left, but I love the direction. Love the direction. Okay, so we're down to our final four. We have Kansas City Buffalo in Kansas City, and we have the Eagles playing the Commanders at home in Philadelphia. So this is going to be crazy. So I said it's Bills or nothing at all. Like, I don't want to see another Chiefs Eagles game. We've been there. We saw that Super Bowl. Don't want to see it. Chiefs Commanders, I just feel sorry for Jaden Daniels. Like,
yeah,
that's a lot. I mean, but what a story, right? That would be amazing. So, but if it's gotta be Bills versus either one of the other teams. Period. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I'm going to say the same thing. I would love, I would love to see a Buffalo Washington game.
I'm here for that.
But I also need to make sure that Buffalo doesn't lose to a brand new quarterback. So there's that.
So also,
and wait, hold on. What's the book that what's his name is reading on the sidelines? What do we need to? What do we all need to read?
So while you're thinking of that, I got to tell you, I didn't tell you what my husband said. So during the game, at one point, he said, "I'm just not fearful of Buffalo. I don't know why. I'm not afraid of them."
What?
And I was like, "Ew, that's kind of." And I was like, "Okay, well, you should, because you finna lose to them." So. And then after the game, he's like, "I'm still not going to give them credit. We lost that game. They didn't like blow us out." I was like, I think what happens when you have two exceptional teams playing each other, it's the one who makes the most mistakes that's going to lose. And that was y'all. So, I mean, I don't know.
And those things happen. So,
right.
And listen, we've been the team that has made more mistakes and lost a game as well. So, what? It happens. It's still a loss.
Yeah. So, and actually I saw somewhere, I didn't open the article, but Philly does, just to your point about asking about what AJ Brown was reading on the sidelines. AJ, apparently they're.
Oh, I think it's sold out on Amazon right now. I just lost it.
Well, what I was going to say.
Excellence. Something about inner excellence or something.
It's called Inner Excellence by Jim Murphy. So for all you book clubbers out there, you can read Inner Excellence by Jim Murphy. Actually, I am reading a book right now that I can't put down. I can't even put down. It's so good. It's called The Women. So throw that in there too. Inner Excellence, and then read The Women. It's so good.
The women, just the women.
The women. It's about the women in Vietnam who served in Vietnam. It follows a woman who was a nurse, which she signed up. Tear down. You'll love this because I know you're ex-military. She signed up for the Army because she wasn't a nurse long enough to get into the other branches. So the Army took her and was like, "Oh, when you come into the Army, we're going to put you it'll be in a hospital. You're like going to be," basically they lied to her, shipped her to Nam. She's in the thick of it. And so far I'm in a part where they transferred her from the one place where they kind of broke her in. And now she's in like basically the front lines. Like it's getting real right now. So it's very well written.
Very cool.
Read. Excellent book. I love the storyline. I love learning about the view from that perspective in that era and in that situation. So I know I took a hard left there for you guys, but seriously, good books.
All good. We'll keep it.
So yes, Kristen Hanna, very good. Yes, Teradome. That's who wrote The Women. I think I see it eventually becoming a movie. Like I don't see how that doesn't get.
Very cool.
It's really good. Well done.
I'll put it on the list of books that I still haven't figured out how to have time to read. But I'm interested.
Perfect. All right, let's get back to football. All right, so we got the Bills, Chiefs. No, we're not going to Kansas City, but we will definitely be cheering on the Bills. And then we've got Eagles, Commanders. Beth likes the Bills, Commanders. I would second that, but I'm also not mad at Bills, Eagles, as long as you handle business in both of those situations.
Well, and my husband is a Giants fan, so here's the thing. Like, I think it would just be not that the Giants haven't beaten Buffalo in the Super Bowl, but the issue
so Whitney Houston
is
sang a
that
good rendition of the Sox.
we're talking about the Saquon Barkley thing,
Yes.
and he's real bitter, as he should be. The Giants have made very poor choices and are suffering and paying for them as we speak. So to keep his heart happy, not even letting him get to the Super Bowl would be helpful. Because then he could watch the Super Bowl and not, well, whatever. He's going to be cheering for Buffalo either way.
I was going to say.
It won't matter.
All right. So we've got these exciting games coming up this weekend, guys. Let us know who your choices are. Be sure to connect with us on Instagram. We definitely will be back next Wednesday to cover those games and talk about the Super Bowl. I am still trying to be hopeful about going to the Pro Bowl. I really want to go.
Do it. You have to.
Greg doesn't want to go, and so I'm trying to bribe my son into going. So he has to see if he can take off work. I'm like, it's like an hour's drive. It's in Orlando, guys. Let's make this. So Greg's like, well, I'll go if no one wants to go with you. I feel like the girl who shows up to the dance and it's like has to pay someone else to dance with me, right? Because I'm just sitting on the side like no one wants to go. And again, I live with all dudes. You would think that somebody would be like, bro, football, that sounds cool, mom, let's go. Nobody. Like,
listen, you see my son, he just posted, he's like, go. If he could go, he'd be down there with you in a heartbeat.
No, it's like, okay, Gabe, but I knew that if Gabe could go, mom could go. Like, that would be, I think it'd be a fun family
Well,
thing.
no, you know what? He and Dana could go, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
So
I'd have to look at the calendar.
I tell my family, look, okay, so my son and my husband don't want to go with me, so I'm going to borrow Beth's son and Beth's family and Beth's husband to go with me. And for those who don't know, I actually was good friends with Beth's husband before they met, so it's not as weird as it may sound.
But still slightly weird. That's still slightly weird.
Actually, very weird. Okay. Anything else you want to cover or talk about?
I don't think so. I think we hit everything. I'm going to be selling snow. I feel like we've got a new marketing scheme. So,
all right, sounds good. If anybody wants to help us with our hot mess next season, we're definitely looking for open volunteers to help us untangle the web that is our podcast. So definitely could get some
help us be better. Make us be better.
Yes, please. All right, guys, that is it. Hopefully you guys are going to be warm, safe, and able to enjoy the games this weekend. So bundle up, get some good food, and be ready to watch these games, guys. So happy football, and
go Bills. Go Bills.
Bye.
Bye, guys.